Well, good evening and welcome to Spirit and Truth Sanctuary, where the whole household of God is welcomed, wanted, affirmed, included, celebrated, and never tolerated. We're glad that you're here with us tonight. We are again in our Wednesday night series on the gifts of imperfection by Brené Brown. We are probably several months now into uncovering each week different approaches to lead us back to the original thesis, and that is what you thought was an imperfection, what you thought might have been a mistake, a misstep, some poor choice in the past. There is a gift hidden within that. What do those gifts look like? It looks like connectedness. It looks like compassion. It looks like empathy, maybe even vulnerability, sharing our story with others. And so once again tonight we will be in the gifts of imperfection. Spirit and Truth Sanctuary is an inclusive spiritual community that attempts the best we can to hold our labels as secondary considerations. Labels of race, labels of gender, labels of sexual orientation, labels of religion or country of origin, culture. All of these labels are around us. They touch us, but we wear them like a loose garment. They're on us, but never really restricting our movement. And so certainly we are aware of our social location. However, we choose to worship the Father and Mother God in spirit and in truth without all the hierarchical systems that divide the human family of labeling each other. And so if any of that's registering with you, you're in the right place at the right time tonight. We hold very loosely truths. We consider truths. We don't perceive that we are our beliefs. We understand and surrender to the idea that we are the spirits capable of having beliefs, changing beliefs, and even clearing out space to where we have only one belief, and that is just to be open, just to be aware. And so in that framework, we know that change is the only constant in the universe. We all change, but we change at our own pace and in our own space. No one can force you to change. Religion, spirituality, philosophical approaches become dictatorial when they attempt to force you to conform or change. Change is constant, yet it happens at our own pace and in our own space. What does that mean? That means you will change, but sometimes there has to be some catalyst, some inspiration for change. One of the greatest inspirations for change is when the pain of remaining the same becomes greater or more intense than the pain of change. And so as always tonight, we have nothing to teach you. You already know within you the answer. We're here only to remove the obstacles that keep you from seeing what you already know and understand. Amen to that? All right. If you will take a moment, let's take a big, deep breath and close our eyes. In this moment of relaxation and stillness, mindfulness and awareness, we open up space. We clear out enough room for Spirit to guide us into truth. We celebrate truth as a journey and not as a destination. We choose to surrender to the beginner's mind tonight. We are not in search of mastery, but we are in surrender, relaxing our way into the mystery of truth. Spirit, lead us and guide us wherever you want. We're going to follow and be open. Amen. And so this is our prayer of surrender, also known as the invitation of truth, just the way we get the conditions of our mind, spirit, and soul ready to receive whatever Spirit has for us. Come on, let's read together tonight. Spirit of truth, carry me where you will. Bring to me what you will. Take from me what you will. Awaken in me what you will. The Christ man is around me. The Christ mind is in me. The Christ power flows through me. And the Christ mystery exists as me. I believe it. I perceive it. And now I receive it. I am surrendered. Amen. So it is. So last week, just for a quick review, we talked about cultivating meaningful work. There's been an interesting dynamic the last several weeks, and that is that our life is more than our accomplishments. Our life is more than proving our self-worth by arriving at exhaustion. And so we've been talking about our things, our accomplishments list versus our dream list. What really is it that makes us happy? Last week we talked about cultivating meaningful work. So we know that there's a balance between rest, play, and work. But how do we cultivate meaningful work? We talked about the tension between making a living and creating a life, and that those things actually can coexist. Some of us are awake enough to actually earn a living by doing the thing that we love, or finding joy in the thing that we are doing, which causes purpose and meaning in our lives. But many of us have a separation, a chasm between those two things. We do work, and then we do something that brings us purpose. And so none of those are necessarily right or wrong. It may just be a little indication, a litmus test for where you are on your truth towards your journey towards truth and your spiritual progression. And so when we find that we have meaning in our work and that there's purpose in the work and we don't have to separate those things, we begin to not be divided in our minds. We begin to sense a feeling of oneness, that we are interconnected with all things, even what we do to earn a living can be purposeful in our lives and meaningful. All right. With all that said, tonight we're going to talk about cultivating laughter, song, and dance. And so I'll give you a warning up front. If you don't have a little silly side, if you don't know how to let your hair down, if you have majored on seriousness, then you're probably going to be a little uncomfortable tonight. This teaching really is trying to tap in to your inner child, your playful spirit, your ability to rejoice and to experience just ecstatic, exuberant joy and laughter and song and dance. If you're inhibited, if you don't want to be, if embarrassment or of the avoidance of embarrassment is really a priority with you, you're probably going to be a little uncomfortable tonight. But if you can tap in to that place, that space where you just can be yourself and express joy, then you're probably going to be right at home tonight. Either way, eat what you can. There are no deal breakers. If you've majored on seriousness, maybe let's offer a minor on playfulness tonight. And so we're going to talk about that. Cultivating laughter, song, and dance. Throughout human history, we've relied on laughter, song, and dance to express ourselves, to communicate our stories and emotions, to celebrate and to mourn, and to nurture community. While most people would tell you that a life without laughter, music, and dance would be unbearable, it's easy to take these experiences for granted. So, let's pause for a moment and let's sit down right here and talk about the experiences of laughter, song, and dance. When you sense joy in laughter, when you connect emotionally with a song or even spiritually with a song, when your body begins to move without even your permission at times, can you consider those moments as sacred, as maybe even sacred playfulness? Can you consider the sacred nature, the holiness that is encapsulated in moments like that? So many times, especially being raised in religious environments, we are conditioned to believe that solemnity, quietness, seriousness really is where spirituality or our spiritual practice is expressed and even applied. However, there are great moments of brevity, moments of joy, unspeakable joy, moments of dancing that are just as sacred as maybe the other things that we have labeled or been conditioned to label. So we open our minds tonight to consider the sacred nature of laughter and song and dance. Laughter, song, and dance are so woven into the fabric of everyday life that we can forget how much we value the people who can make us laugh. Wow. The songs that inspire us to roll down the car window and sing at the top of our lungs, and the total freedom we feel when we dance like nobody's watching. Wow, have you ever been caught in the middle of a dance move and didn't think anybody was watching you? Have you ever been caught singing and you thought that no one was listening? If you have, that's a good sign. That's a good sign that you're cultivating laughter and dance and song. If you haven't been caught doing these things, it might be time to get caught. It might be time to get caught red-handed expressing joy in your life. I had a little joy a couple of days ago reading, I don't know if it was a meme or a Instagram post or something, but some of you remember years ago the group TLC wrote a song entitled Scrubs or No Scrubs. And one of the lyrics was something like, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me, hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. And so I saw a comical take on that this week that said, you know what? I've had to rethink that song, because when I see a brother that's riding in the passenger side of his friend, it tells me that in this climate with these gas prices that he is concerned about financial responsibility, and I'm actually intrigued in that gentleman. Of course, there's balance between all that, but yeah, just taking comical looks. It's a song, it's a twist on the lyrics that we originally saw or understood. Comedy, laughing, enjoying both music, song, and dance. All right, in her book, Dancing in the Streets, A History of Collective Joy, social critic Barbara Ehrenreich on history and anthropology, draws on history and anthropology to document the importance of engaging in what she refers to as collective ecstasy. Collective ecstasy. Ever been in a church service, spiritual service, gathering, meditation, whatever, and you've sensed a collective vibration, a collective awareness, presence, spirit, worship, and you thought, wow, this is not just happening for me, something is happening in this gathering, in this collective gathering right now. I've had those moments even in things that wouldn't be considered traditionally spiritual. I consider them spiritual because everything is spiritual. I've had moments like that at concerts, watching movies, embracing nature. I had a moment like that today when I saw some baby ducklings. All of it is sacred. All of it's beautiful. All of it can be a collective, ecstatic experience if we surrender to it. Ehrenreich concludes that we are innately social beings, impelled almost instinctively to share our joy. When something good happens to you, it's hard not to testify. Isn't that right? Anybody remember? I think LaDonna may have to help me. I think it was an old Andre Crouch song, but it could be, I'm not sure. It could be an old Smallwood song. I'm not sure, but it just went, I gotta tell somebody what Jesus did for me. Yeah, I couldn't keep quiet. Remember Shirley Caesar's Shouting John song? And the church tried to get him quiet, and his feet started moving, got his feet still, his hands started clapping. Yeah, sometimes when you're overwhelmed with joy, it is something that we desire to share with others. I absolutely believe she is right, the author Ehrenreich. I also love the idea of collective ecstasy, especially now when we seem to be stuck in a state of collective fear and anxiety. Have you ever been in a moment of fear, in a season, in an anxious season, and a contagious laughter just found its way into your heart and your soul, and that contagious smile just crept up on your face, and all of a sudden there was a healing moment. There was a moment of respite and rest, and whew, thank you, God, I needed to laugh. I needed to experience that. There is some healing, even in the midst of anxiety and fear, that a collective joy can bring to us. As I sifted through my data, I asked myself two questions. Number one, why are laughter, song, and dance so important to us? Okay. And number two, is there some transformational element that they have in common? These were complicated questions to answer because yes, we yearn to laugh and sing and dance when we feel joy, but we also turn to these forms of expression when we feel lonely, sad. Listen, watch the multiplicity and diversity of expression here. We turn to laughter, dance, and song when we feel lonely, sad, excited, in love, heartbroken, afraid, ashamed, confident, certain, doubtful, brave, bravery, grief, and ecstasy, just to name a few. Wow. Consider for a moment the multiplicity of expression of when we turn to dance, when we turn to song, when we turn to laughter. I'm convinced that there's a song, a dance, and a path to laughter for every human emotion. After a couple of years of analyzing my data, here's what I learned. Laughter, song, and dance create emotional and spiritual connection. Wow, certainly don't we know that at Spirit and Truth? They remind us of one thing that truly matters when we are searching for comfort, celebration, inspiration, or healing. Here it is. Here's the gift. That we are not alone. Wow. You're not alone. Isn't it interesting the common shared experiences that the human family can tell of? It's interesting that comedians, some of the comedians that we love the most, they just talk about shared experiences that we all can relate to. And in those shared experiences, there is an instigation of laughter. And in that laughter, what we're saying is, yeah, I've experienced that. I've been through that. It's a laugh. It's a rejoicing of the comedy, of course, but it's also a laughter of relief. Whew, I thought, I'm not the only person who's experienced this. Wow, I've had that embarrassing moment. I've had that thought that I did not want to voice out loud. Sometimes comedians have a gift of exposing our commonality, at times both our uniqueness, but also the way that we all have shared similar common experiences. That, and some of the best comedians that we ever listen to are really just talking about life's experiences, and we laugh because we understand, we get it. We maybe feel the same way. Laughter, ironically, here we go. Ironically, I learned the most about laughter during the 8 years that I was studying shame. Look at that irony there. I'm studying shame, but I was learning about laughter. Shame resilience requires laughter. So we talked several months ago about shame resilience, and that is not that we're not aware when we make a poor choice, but that we don't allow that to dictate our self-worth. Our self-worth does not come by our accomplishments, and it is not defined by our missteps and mistakes. Our self-worth is intrinsic to our very beingness, not our doingness, okay? Shame resilience requires laughter. I've got to learn to laugh at myself. There's a kind of laughter that helps us heal that's called a knowing laughter. Interesting. Laughter is a spiritual form of communing without words. We can say to one another, I'm with you, I get it. Isn't that an interesting dynamic? When we laugh, we're saying, yeah, I get it. I felt it. I'm with you. I understand. Okay. Knowing laughter embodies the relief and connection we experience when we realize the power of sharing our stories. Here it is. We are not laughing at each other, but with each other. Isn't that a powerful connection right there? All right. Song. Moving on to the second one. Song. From the 8 tracks my parents played in our station wagon. Anybody remember that big old 8-track? Looked like a bologna sandwich. You stick it right in that 8-track player. I am just old enough to remember some 8-track players. 8-track players played in my parents' station wagon. Remember the big station wagons with the wood on the side. To my stack of vinyl records from the 1970s. To my mixtapes from the 80s. Woohoo! To the iTunes playlist on my new computer, my life has a soundtrack. Don't all of our lives have a soundtrack? I can tell you this, I have some favorite playlists. I have a phone full. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Look at my playlist on my phone. I don't know if y'all can see that. I mean, it is just on and on. I probably have 100 playlists in my phone. And it goes from Phil Collins to Simon and Garfunkel to, you're gonna love this, to Pat Benatar and Blondie. Wow, to Tejano music, to the artist Seal, reggae, country, Lady Gaga, Let's see. Kendrick Lamar. Wow, look at me. Tribe Called Quest. Any Tribe fans way back when? 90s. Movies. Spanish music. Let's see. Living Color. Anybody remember Living Color? The all-black rock band from the late 80s, early 90s? They were killing it. I love Living Color. Curtis Mayfield is one of my playlists. Grunge, girl rock, all girl song, just girls rocking it out. Let's see. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Walking Meditations. I've got one called MPBWJ, and that I think is like Madonna, Prince, Britney Spears, and I forget what the other two are, but just like a conglomerate. I've got jazz, the Carpenters, John Denver. Woo, look at me. Prince, Michael Jackson, Sting, the Black Pumas. You heard a song from them this past Sunday. All of these different songs, soft rock. Let's see. Doobie Brothers, Jamiroquai. All of these songs for me, all these playlists take me to a place emotionally. I even sometimes get in the mood for certain playlists. I get in the mood when I'm working out for a certain type of playlist. When I finish and I'm feeling the endorphins, I want a different type of music. When I'm celebrating something with my family, I want a different type of playlist. Isn't it interesting that our emotions connect us even to music? My sister is 8 years older than me, so I was raised by someone who introduced me to music that was before my time. So obviously I was raised in the 80s. I love 80s music. I'm a big 90s music fan too. But I have a great appreciation for 70s music because that was my sister's music. I remember growing up, she was kind of reclusive at times, even though she wasn't necessarily an introvert, but she would hide away in her bedroom, and all day long she would make mixtapes. We called them K-Tales. I think K-Tel was the brand of tapes that she would buy. She'd buy like a package of K-Tel tapes. But we didn't call them mixtape. We said she's up there making some K-Tales. And she had a mixtape for everything, for breaking up, for being in love, for being sad, for being happy. She had stacks and stacks and stacks of mixtapes. And you either had to make a mixtape from catching a song on the radio and trying to record it, or taking a record player and playing it down to a mixtape, or taking individual cassette tapes and taking favorite songs off of cassette A and putting it over onto cassette B. Anybody remember all that older technology? Yeah, songs really become the soundtrack of our lives. Many of you have a favorite song. You share a song with a significant other that is your song. All right, and the songs, here it goes, can stir memories and provoke emotion in me like nothing else. Wow. Some of us can hear a song and almost start crying. Isn't that amazing? I realize not everyone shares the same passion for music, but its ability to move us emotionally is universal. Have you ever thought how different it would be to watch a film without background music? I watched a documentary one time about how music affects us emotionally during movies. And they played a piece of a very scary horror movie. But while the villain was chasing after people, they were playing like circus music, or like music that clowns would dance around to. And it was so bizarre listening to this like lively, funny music, watching a killer, a murderer chasing someone. It's interesting how music can either set the mood or change the mood. Movies without a soundtrack will fall flat. How many of us have watched a powerful movie and immediately you go and see if you can find the soundtrack to that movie? I have got so many movie soundtracks on my playlist. Some of you may be familiar with the Jurassic Park movies. I love that soundtrack. It just takes me somewhere. Superman, the Marvel themes. I love the movie Meet Joe Black, and just the instrumental from that, just so beautiful, takes me to a place. All of us have some type of soundtrack that reminds us of a movie. All right, whether it's a hymn at church, the national anthem, a college fight song, a song on the radio, or a carefully scored soundtrack to a movie, music reaches out and offers us connection, something we really can't live without. My mother's probably loving this tonight because she does not agree that math is the only universal language, that math and music are the two universal languages. All right, let's move on to dance. Dance. I measure the health of our family by how much dancing is happening in our kitchen. Isn't the kitchen the gathering place? I can tell you this, when my daughter gets home from work and she's had a long day, we can sit in that kitchen and laugh and talk and dance and listen to music. I have one of my favorite videos that I've saved of my daughter is she's making some cookies. She's cut up some cookie dough, put it on a little thing and stuck it in the oven. And it takes about 10 or 12 minutes for the cookies to rise, and shows the level of excitement in her when those cookies are baking. She would get in a little place in her house and she would just start dancing. There's no choreographed dance. There's nothing planned to it. It's not even all that rhythmic. It's just, she's just moving, going crazy. And I asked her, I said, Esther, what are you doing? What is this? She's like, this is my cookie dance. This is the cookie dance. I'm so excited about my cookies. Yeah. The health of a family can be measured in many ways, but one is, do you dance? Do you laugh? Do you listen to music together? That's probably a good clue that your family is experiencing health. It didn't take me long to learn that dance is a tough issue for many people. Listen to this. Laughing hysterically can make us feel a little out of control, and singing out loud can make some of us feel self-conscious. But for many of us, there's no form of self-expression that makes us feel more vulnerable than dancing. It's literally full body vulnerability. The only other full body vulnerability that I can think of is being naked. And I don't have to tell you how vulnerable that makes most of us feel. For many people, raising that kind of public vulnerability is too difficult. Risking that type of public vulnerability is just too difficult. So here it is. They dance at home or only in front of people that they care about, maybe people that they trust in some ways. For others, the vulnerability is so crushing that they don't dance at all. One woman told me, sometimes if I'm watching TV and people are dancing or there's a good song playing, I tap my feet without even noticing it. Isn't that interesting? You ever just been tapping your feet or slapping on your thigh, or just moving your head like this to a great song that you love? Yeah, the rhythm just gets in us. The rhythm is going to get you. There we go. All right. When I finally catch myself, I feel embarrassed, even if I'm alone. Why? I have no rhythm. So there's an older country song where this guy gets this bad report from a doctor's appointment, and finds out he has a little while to live. And so he asks the question, what'd you do? Or somebody asks, what'd you do when you find out that report? He says, you know what? I went skydiving. I went mountain climbing. I rode on a bull. I went bull riding. I did all the things that I wanted to do. I lived my life. I didn't let embarrassment. Why? I'm about to die. Aren't we all dying in some ways? All of us are dying. Bishop Pearson always says, how you dying? Yeah, how you dying? Hopefully you're dying dancing. You're dying singing. You're dying laughing. There's another country song that it's a woman singing to her spouse and saying, hey, I don't know exactly what your life is going to be like, but if it's not with me, I hope you find the courage to dance. Instead of sitting it out, don't sit it out, dance. Dance through life. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have rhythm, that your moves are weird. Just move the way that your body feels to move. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. All right. There's no question that some people are more musically inclined or coordinated than others. But I'm starting to believe that dance is in our DNA. Not super hip and cool dancing, but a strong pull toward rhythm and movement. You ever notice when somebody gets excited in church and they don't know the traditional learned two-step thing of how you're supposed to dance in church? They just start running or jumping or doing something that's okay. Maybe a dance that is not rehearsed is maybe the most authentic and genuine anyway. Okay. You can see this desire to move in children until we teach them that they need to be concerned with how they look and with what other people think. There are so many just wonderful videos that we can find of children in their diaper, in their pajamas, and there's some music playing, and that child is just in their diaper, moving, dancing, doing their thing. They don't know not to do it. They're just feeling the rhythm of the music. They even dance naked. How many of our kids have gotten out of the bathtub and we're trying to put a towel on? They're running down the hallway. You're like, get your butt back here and get some clothes on. They're just running naked, dancing. Yeah. All right. Not always graceful or with the beat, but always with joy and pleasure. Writer Mary Jo Putney says, what one loves in childhood stays in the heart forever. Let's pause here for just a moment and let's ask the question, is there still a child inside of us? Psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists may call it your inner child. Sometimes it's having to go back to that inner child to realize where something got hurt or some dysfunction was experienced that kind of altered our life's path. But guess what? Not only did we go back to that inner child to rediscover where pain began, we can go back to that inner child to discover where joy was, where the lack of inhibition was, where your true self was. I think it's all still hidden inside of us. I don't care how old I get. I'll be 50 this year. I will never lose my childlike nature. I will always play jokes. I will always laugh. I will always be silly. I don't care what my job is or is not. I don't care if I'm keeping my grandkids or at some kind of ordination service. I am going to always give place to that inner child. It keeps me happy. It keeps me young. And I think it maybe is contagious to those that are around us. I hope that any of us who may be able to admit tonight we've lost that inner childlike joy, and maybe we've given way to things like embarrassment or people's opinions of us, that we just let all that nonsense go and find that laughter again, find that dance, find that joy. And guess what? The people who are criticizing you, when you are having a good time, when you're joyful and living your life to the fullest, they will eventually stop criticizing and say, hey, what has this person found that I haven't found? All right, last thing. If this is true, and I believe it is, that we all have that inner child still in us, that joy, then dance stays in our heart, even when our head becomes overly concerned with what people might think. Wow, that's a lot to talk about tonight, and hopefully it's aroused a little bit of joy inside of you. Talk to me tonight.
Well, first of all, before we start into the comments, your sister, she was chiming in a little bit. But she said, I don't know which song this was, but she said, actually, I think that was written by a guy named Don Francisco. What song were you talking about?
I can't remember now.
Okay.
I don't remember which one it was.
Okay. And then she says, you better... Don't laugh at me, LaDonna. This is going to be... I don't know how to pronounce this. She says, you better have some... Scritty Politi? What is
Scritty Politi.
Scritty Politi?
Scritty. I found a perfect way. Yeah, that was my 7th grade year. Scritty Politi. So that would have been, about 1983 or 84, somewhere in there. Scritty Politi. Yeah, I love it, LaDonna.
I did not know how to pronounce it. And she said...
Scritty Politi.
Sorry, Scritty Politi. Okay, and jellyfish, she said.
Jellyfish, when the king is half undressed. Love some jellyfish. I'm going to get a jellyfish playlist, LaDonna, because I miss listening to jellyfish. All right.
Okay, so Laverne said, love most of the artists on your playlist. That's what we call eclectic. The only thing she says she can't get with is hillbilly music, but she does like country western.
Country, isn't it amazing? So my daughter loves country music, and there are a handful of country artists that I really, really like. If you're not familiar with the Chicks, used to be called the Dixie Chicks, but they're just the Chicks now, which I'm glad for their evolution. They are aware, awake, incredibly talented. So if you struggle with country music, they've even done some gigs with Beyonce, sang on a couple of the Chick songs, and so I find that even in country music, there is an awakening that's happening. Some of the country artists are becoming more inclusive. They're becoming more progressive in their thinking. It's not just about their old dog dying, and some of those songs are beautiful as well. But there is a real sense of awakening happening in country music right now. Carrie Underwood. Just check it out for yourself. Just Google progressive country music, and you'll see that that's happening. And so, yeah, hopefully we all have an appreciation for a variety of different kinds of music.
Miss Bobby said, I hope you can dance because we do deserve a second chance in life. Try to find the fun side in difficult situations. Simply laugh, get happy while singing your favorite song. Live and move with the beat.
Isn't that good advice, Miss Bobby? Look at you. I don't know that I've ever seen you without a smile on your face. That's probably why you're so young. I know that black doesn't crack, but also keeping a youthful spirit keeps us young as well. Such a youthful, joyful spirit. Thank you, Bobby.
Richard commented, I have always loved and admired how you and your family always have made church fun and balanced the spiritual with real life situations.
Richard, thank you, Richard. You know, being raised by Clarice, who is silly as they come, and being raised by Don Paulk, who is a cynical prankster, that stuff just bled into church. You know, so when we at Spirit and Truth have 80s Day or disco night or all the crazy stuff that we dress up on Halloween. Seriously, at Spirit and Truth, we come to church in costume. That is Don and Clarice Paulk saying, "Hey, church can be fun. We should be having fun. We should be experiencing joy and laughter." Do you remember, Richard? You've been at the church for many years. When we had the power team come to the church and they were breaking all the boards and lifting all the stuff, and the last night, my dad and my uncle, Bishop and Pastor Don, dressed up as the power team. They put balloons and making their muscles look big. They were up there breaking styrofoam on their head. When my kids saw that video, they were like, "What in the world are Papa Don and Papa Earl doing?" And I said, "Look, as serious as church can be, we also knew how to have fun. Dramas, plays, skits, all that stuff." I remember one New Year's Eve, Richard, I think it was 1999, I rode into church on a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I rode down the aisle on a motorcycle. Got up to now this is after I had already played Elvis on stage. Went up to the stage to speak, and I had someone rappel down out of the ceiling and hand me my Bible. That was 1999. That was 23 years ago. We were doing things like that. It's okay. Yeah, I love it that there's still enough childlikeness in you that you love to be part of a church that knows how to laugh. That's good. Thanks, Richard.
Miss Sandra Mack shared, songs and dancing always makes me feel good, even if I'm in a fog. Almost every night I log onto YouTube and listen to some of my favorite old songs because they lift my spirit. She said that inner child has always been in me, and it helps me deal with the complexities of life.
Isn't that powerful? It could be an old gospel song. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Or it could be an old Earth, Wind, and Fire song. Yeah, I'm going to see Earth, Wind, and Fire in a couple of months. Santana is opening for them. Then Earth, Wind, and Fire are going to sing Kalimba. I'm going to be dancing just like I dance when we sing on Sunday morning. Yeah, it is all of that music. There is no sacred. There is no secular. It all takes us to that beautiful space of feeling that childlikeness. That's great. Thank you.
So a little curveballs. Chris Thompson asked, do you listen to hip-hop music? And if so, what artist?
All right. You ready for this? You ready for my hip-hop stuff? So I like to run. I was Beastie Boys for a while because, white kids trying to have flavor. And then it was Run DMC. I liked LL Cool J. Now this is going back, okay? But my 6th grade year, I was the only white kid in the entire elementary school that I attended, was the Sugar Hill Gang. I still remember the record that had that like candy cane type thing going around it. A hip, a hop, a hippie to the hip, a don't stop, all that. Yeah. So that's my old hip hop stuff. But then coming through, I got into Tribe Called Quest. I listened to a little bit of Goody Mob. Okay. I like Common. I think Common has a lot of good things to say. I listened to Talib Kweli, let's see, who was that? To Kendrick Lamar. One of my new favorite artists is Anderson .Paak. Just incredibly talented hip hop artist. Shall I go on and on? And then I love it when hip hop and rock kind of splice together. Anybody remember Run DMC and Aerosmith? They were killing that thing together. I loved it. And so yeah, I'm very musically diverse, and so I have some good hip hop stuff that I listen to when I work out, and especially when I'm working out with my 22-year-old son. He's like, Dad, can we not listen to 80s music? I want to listen. The hip hop gets me going to work out. So yeah, I like a lot of hip hop.
Okay, so Homer made a comment, and I know Homer loves me, so he's going to forgive me, but I'm trying to figure out what the heck he is talking about.
What you doing, HH?
Homer said, I don't know, speaking of laughter tonight, the first thing that came to my mind was the Old Spice commercial of the guy on the horse.
I'm on a horse. Look at your man. Now look at me. Now look back at me. Now look at your man.
So, Homer, you have to explain yourself. Homer said, don't forget you're riding in on a horse. I'm like, is he thinking the motorcycle? And he said horse. Did you ride in church on a horse one time and I just don't know about it? Or
my sister rode in on a horse that I can remember.
Okay, I think he must be talking about the motorcycle, but
maybe the motorcycle,
I'm just trying to figure out, did I forget the time
it's called a hog. I don't remember riding in on a horse, but I do remember some horses at our services. One time there was a horse at one of the Alpha services. They were outside, and the horse got spooked by the music and started running all crazy. Thank God no one got hurt. My sister rode as Mary, Mary, the mother of Jesus, on a donkey or mule or something, and the horse would not move. The donkey would not go any further, and it was just stuck in the aisle. I was sitting by one of my best friends, Louis Lamar, whose father played offensive tackle for the New York Jets. And before I knew it, Lewis's father, who was like 6'6", about 350 pounds, got up and was just bullying the donkey down the aisle. So yeah, there have been some horses involved. I don't remember riding one in church, but who knows, Homer? Maybe our memories are failings.
That was funny. Fred wrote in, full vulnerability here. I love to dance around the house, but I have no rhythm. It's hard to admit this as a black man. and Richard Copeland said, don't worry, you are not alone.
You're not alone, Fred Hayes. There are a lot of black men who don't have rhythm. It is a wonderful stereotype that is not always true. Hey, but you know what? Look at what you've tapped into. Okay, I don't have rhythm, but I enjoy dancing. I enjoy life. Last week, Dr. Elijah said, you know what? I really love singing, but I'm not a good singer. Who cares? Get in your car, turn it up loud, sing. Maybe don't take the microphone and sing, but sing. Yeah, enjoy your life. That's great, Fred. I think that imperfection healed a lot of us tonight that don't have rhythm. Thank you, Fred.
The only thing I'm disappointed about tonight is that we didn't make this a Zoom session where we could have a big dance party together.
Got to do something.
Before I read Cheryl's comment, she actually wrote in to Bobby. I'm excited about seeing my favorite R&B group, Maze, featuring Frankie Beverly, sing my favorite R&B song, Happy Feelings. Apparently they're at Chastain this Saturday. And the Isley Brothers will open for them. This will be an old school jam. Yeah.
Look at you, Cheryl. You're a music connoisseur. We actually had a great night checking out some jazz. Hiroshima, I still play their playlist. Love their stuff. Yeah, it brings something up. We actually thought about doing Happy Feeling. It's Spirit and Truth. Brené listened to it about a year ago, and it just didn't make it to the rehearsal list. But we thought, man, this would be a great song to sing. It just makes it, that happy feeling with the percussion, it just takes you somewhere, doesn't it? Thanks, Cheryl.
So Cheryl wrote in something a little deep here. Take us technical, right? Let's go to the science behind it. But she said laughter, song, and dance stimulates the parasympathetic branch of the ANS to release the vitality hormone, DHEA, that fosters emotional and physiological well-being.
Isn't that amazing? Music, song, dance, exercise, deep breathing, they all affect us physiologically. They affect our body. They affect our emotions. Amazing. I had someone, I was doing a training a couple of weeks ago, and usually I train two people together, and one of them wasn't on. And the other person said to me, hey, I want you to reach back out to so-and-so. She needs to get in here and train with us. And I said, oh, okay. She said, yeah, she needs it, and I need her to train because she's happier when she exercises. She's easier to deal with when her body is happy, when the endorphins are released. Aren't we more pleasant to be around when we've been singing some good music? Yeah, aren't we? Isn't it easier to enjoy each other when we've had a little dance? Yeah, that makes sense. It makes a lot of scientific sense. Excuse me. Thank you, Cheryl.
So I thought I would connect that comment to something Reverend David Michael said. He said, in the midst of the sucky life shifts and blooming joys, music and dancing in the kitchen around our ion is the medicines that bring healing. So I thought I would mention, because Cheryl, she said the parasympathetic branch, and I thought it was really interesting. So that word relating to the part of the automatic nervous system that counterbalances the action of the sympathetic nerves. It consists of nerves arising from the brain and the lower end of the spinal cord, and that supply the internal organs, blood vessels, and glands.
Wow.
Literally, the music, laughter, dancing affects our organs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anybody old enough, I'm sure you are, to remember the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind? It was one of the first alien movies where extraterrestrials are trying to communicate with us. I don't know about you. I think the universe is too vast to say that there are no other life forms. I think that's really ridiculous to say that. There's no way of knowing right now, but there's no way to say there's not. The universe is immense and still growing. But the song, they didn't understand each other's language in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But they did connect through that do-do-do-do-do. Anybody remember that? Do-do-do-do-do. It's interesting, David, Michael, Cheryl, that we have sent some things out into space. We have actually transmitted certain things out into space that if we ever contact other life forms, it's kind of a cultural diversity of who we are. And so there's like a Chuck Berry song on there. There's some math equations. There's some beautiful architecture. But it's like sending even to things that we don't know are alive or not, or in existence or not, that we share common space. And what are the two of the things? Music and math. That's interesting that those are common languages. Yeah, it affects our body. Isn't it interesting when you leave a movie, how you feel emotionally? The songs, the scenes, it's amazing. When you hear a song in your car, there are some songs you hear that take you to a very very solemn place of stillness and quietness. That's good too. We should feel those emotions. There are other songs that you got to turn that knob up a little bit, and you just wow. You got to watch your gas on those songs, because all of a sudden you'll be going way over the speed limit. Yeah, it affects us emotionally, physically. Interesting connection there.
Miss Mary said, I remember being a little kid listening to opera music and wanting to be an opera singer. But since that dream didn't pan out, I have just resorted to singing in the shower.
Aren't we all amazing in the shower? Aren't all of our voices sound great with that steam coming up into our nostrils? That's good, Mary. Hey, you know what? I am not in any way, shape, or form even close to being a professional golfer, but I enjoy nature. I hit a couple good shots around. I enjoy those shots. I share it with my son usually, or some church member, or Javon Brothers, or Johnson Copperidge, or I share with somebody that I love and appreciate. It's not that we have to be perfect at something to enjoy it. Yeah, I've started doing some like little painting recently. I haven't done it in the last couple months as much as I was for a while, but I'm going to get back into it soon. I know I'm never going to be Picasso or, my goodness, Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo, but it's very relaxing to me. I enjoy it. And guess what? If I paint it and it's horrible, it can just go right in the trash. Or guess what? I can paint over that canvas and just paint something else, But it's not about mastering something. It's about the enjoyment that you get out of it. Enjoy it. Love it. Be with yourself in those moments. I love that you can do that, Mary. Beautiful.
So it looks like this struck a nerve with everybody tonight for sure. Miss Myrna said, I love to dance and act silly with my family. Dr. Banks said, right there with you, and several others. So sounds like everybody would like to send us a video of you dancing around.
Come on, send it in. Let's see it. Let's see them dance moves. So interesting, Myrna, that you shared that. A few years ago, my nephew got married, and my cousins catered the wedding, and it was a beautiful event. So we gathered in kind of like a clubhouse right near the church, right at Avondale Estates. They rented the clubhouse for their reception afterwards, and we were just eating and laughing and having a good time. And so there was a DJ, and people were getting out of the dance floor. And before I knew it, I was out there just dancing, being silly. I was trying to get my family members to come dance with me. And finally, some of my other nephews got on the dance floor with me. And one of the members of our family, whom we just love, is the funniest person in the world. We actually picked him up on our shoulders. And there's a picture of us holding him on our shoulders, like we're at a Jewish wedding of some sort. And just the laughter, the joy on our faces, that memory is captured forever in that picture. And it was with dancing, with song, with music. It was just a very collective ecstatic moment that we shared of joy. All of us have shared those. All of us tap into it. I'm glad that we struck a nerve tonight. It's a good week. It's a good week to just take a big deep breath. You know what? When you are aware of shootings that happened July 4th, there was another police shooting. There was a mass shooting at a July 4th gathering. Like 20 people got killed. It's hard. It's hard to hear that kind of stuff out. It is our reality. We do live in a world where people are mentally unstable. Violence is something that we deal with. Brandon and I started watching a new show a couple of days ago, and it keeps flashing back to a war that a gentleman was involved with, and just how real those lives are that are being lost in war. Those are some harsh realities. As we gather to raise our vibration, that's part of our higher vibration. We're aware that there are things around us. We're aware that we live in a difficult world at times. But guess what? We also have a world of beauty. I see trees of green. I see red roses too. And I think to myself, come on, Satchmo, what a wonderful world. Yes, we have a world of disease and hunger, and we're not immune or in denial to those things. But there's also too much beauty for us to not enjoy. As I looked at this, let me tell you this, how difficult it is to tap into just the awareness of the reality that surrounds us. This morning, Brandy and I went and ran very early trail. We ran, 3 or 4 miles on a trail this morning, or we walked and ran. We do a combination of those things. But as we were running, we saw two deer. We usually don't see with antlers, but these deer just had, 8 or 10 antlers. They still had velvet on the antlers, and so they were a little bit younger deer, but they were pretty big. And then we drove into our neighborhood, and we saw a mother duck that had 7 little bitty ducklings, about not much bigger than a silver dollar, if you remember what silver dollars were. Just tiny little things that I could probably fit 2 or 3 of them in the palm of my hand. Yet the mother duck, the father was not there. Usually ducks kind of mate for life. And that means that the father possibly gave his life defending predators trying to eat his little ducklings. That's difficult, isn't it? There's this moment of joy. Look at these beautiful ducks. And then, ooh, I hope they don't get eaten. It's all there. It's all part of our reality. Just because there's pain in our lives doesn't mean we don't experience the joy of baby ducks. Okay? It is all there. It's all part of what we do. And so finding that tension between those polarities is what helps us walk that middle way. But tonight was a night of joy, a night of song and laughter and dance. If you want to send some videos in of your dancing, we might just have to show them sometime. So let us know. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are going to, I think I have, yeah, there we go. My computer froze on me because we were talking so much. We want to give you a chance to do our closing prayer with us. Are we going to do shouts out tonight, Brandon?
I sent it over.
Send some? Okay. Let's shout out some beautiful peoples tonight. All right, on live stream and Facebook and YouTube tonight, Pastor Don, Tamara Summers, Laverne, Bobby, Ben and Vicky, Sandra Mack, Emma Gosier, Margie, Elaine, Doreen. I got a chance to see Doreen Sunday. Sheila, Rosaline, Pastor Fred and Mary, Alma McIntosh, Randall Renfro, Myrna, Taria, Jennifer, Jen, Sherby, Cheryl, Reverend David Michael, Pastor Gloria, Carolyn Bell, Jeannie Lovingood. Hey, Jeannie Lovingood. Dr. Rachel Banks, Richard Copeland, Irma Crump, Anita Cosi, Pastor LaDonna Diaz, Lenora, Terry, Homer, and Chris. And if we left off your name, you are loved and included at Spirit and Truth.
I did leave off a comment, and I heard her name, and I'm so sorry, Miss Jeannie. I somehow skipped over it. Miss Jeannie wrote in tonight. I have to read it. She said, one of the things that attracted me to Warren was his laughter. Even with the challenges he has now, it's when we laugh together.
Wow.
That is his and my happy place and playing music together.
What a precious gift that Warren is to this world, that you are to this world, and that you guys are to each other. You found each other. You guys have some common experiences in your past. But look at how you vibrated toward each other and still share that beautiful laughter together. I love it when I see Warren's face. He is loving and he is good and he is laughter, and so are you. That's why you guys attracted each other to yourselves. And so thank you, Jeannie, for sharing that. All right, let's read our closing affirmation together. Come on, let's read. I am ready to bravely own my story. I accept myself, my imperfections, and my uniqueness. I will find the courage to be vulnerable, honest, and open. Amen. And so it is. We love you guys. Looking forward to reconnecting with you this Sunday morning. Go in peace, laugh, sing, and dance, and may God bless you.